Hi, I'm Riva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and this is one fabulous machine. This is the Brother Luminaire. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. I want to show you some really cool stuff, but before we do, let me show you some basics. So with sewing, this machine is pretty fabulous. It has a variable speed here. I'm going to actually put it on medium speed, and when I sew and I stop, it actually will raise the foot for you so you can pivot, which is really handy when you're working with a larger expanses of fabric, or if you're doing quilting and you need to be able to get the next piece right up in there. Has a thread cutter, has the most amazing needle threader. Watch this. I'm just gonna cut that thread, push that button right there, and voila, it's threaded. Love it, love it. Drop-in bobbin, so it's really easy to get to, and it also is easy to see how much you have left. But don't worry, you don't have to pay attention to it because the machine's going to tell you anyway. Now this little button is really cool. Look at this. It lifts that needle plate up for you so you can get in there and clean it and switch out the needle plate if you want to. Very easy. No need to have screwdrivers or any tools there. You'll notice that you have 13 inches from the needle to the inside of the arm here, and look at all the space around the needle so you can get in there and change the needle without being confined. You can change the foot very easily, and better yet, you have great visibility when you sew. You have lighting all the way across, and you also have this wonderful matte finish on the surface of the machine, so it's not going to reflect extra light, which will give your eyes fatigue when you're sewing for long periods of time. So this is pretty cool there. Now, when we are working with heavyweight fabrics, this sews like a dream. It does come with a foot control, but you can control your machine with the on-off button right here, which is really pretty cool. Now, do you hear the machine? Of course you hear it, but did you notice how quiet it is? So let's do a little top stitch on our denim here. And one thing I have found is that when I'm trying to make a garment or a tote bag or a home deck item and I want it to have a professional finish and I want it to have that look that you do when you buy it from the store, it's great to use a triple straight stitch. And what this does is it is going to mimic the look of those heavyweight threads. Have you ever noticed on your jeans you have that beautiful top stitch, but it's hard to find a thread like that? So you can choose the color that you want with regular thread and then use this stitch, and you're going to have a beautiful, beautiful finish. Now, if you have it sew as fast as it can, it is a fast machine, which is pretty wonderful. So then you're going to get this beautiful top stitch. It's great for garments, it's great for home deck, and also for crafted projects and things like that. So that's lots of fun. When you're rehemming a pair of jeans, you have not only the 3 layers of fabric from the seam, but you also have the 1 turn up of the hem and the second turn that covers up any of those raw edges. And then when you sew, when you get to that seam, that's usually where a machine struggles. Well, this machine has something very unique. It's called the AHA feature. And what that does is it's automatic height adjustment. So when it comes to this spot where the fabric is getting thick and the foot is tipped, the machine can sense that it actually will raise the ankle up and level that foot off. So that way the full foot is even contact with the feed dogs. And then when it goes back down, it will lower the ankle back down, so it's again in proper contact with the feed dogs. So let's go ahead and stitch that. And you're going to notice that it goes up and over that fabric without a care. And we didn't have to do anything to it. The machine senses it and does it all for you. You've got a beautiful hem even over all those thicknesses. It also behaves beautifully on lightweight fabrics as well. Now, if you're doing something really wacky like polar fleece or minky or satins and velvets, things that are just really slippery, there is this little guy, and it is called the Move It foot. Now, I don't have a foot on it right now. This is just the mechanism, and it comes with the machine, but you're going to notice that it has a belt system here that is going to move, and you can adjust the rate of speed at which it moves to adjust for your particular fabric, and that's going to feed on the top. It has snap-on feet that are interchangeable. And so, for example, one foot that we have for it right here is the standard foot. And you can see it has a nice wide profile. So it's going to be able to have more contact with your fabric. And again, there's quilting feet and all sorts of feet that you can get for your digital dual feed foot. And they just snap on and off. Now that's pretty cool, but I want to show you this awesome box. Now this comes loaded with your accessories, and the box lid is attached and it opens up flat, so you're able to take your trays and pop them over in the lid so you can use them and see all of your accessories all at the same time. And this little guy actually lives right there. He has a home, and this foot does too. But what's really cool is that these trays, everything locks in so they won't dump out on you, which is pretty cool. When machine manufacturers update and create new machines, they put lots of fun things in them. And lately it seems like a lot of those fun things have been in the embroidery side. And that's true here too. But they've done some amazing things on the sewing side. So if you love to sew, oh my goodness, you're going to love this. So one of my favorites is the guideline marker. So on my guideline, I have two different choices. I have my main line and I have a subline, which I use to mark my seam allowance. All I have to do is turn this on, and let's take a look at what it does. So if you notice here, my red line is my sewing line, and the green line is the line that I would put the edge of the fabric on. And I'm actually going to take the foot off just for a second so you can see even more. So you can adjust the placement of your lines. You can also come in and we can change the style of the line. So if I want to have my green line be a marker for something else, I can have it display a 90-degree angle. So that way, if I'm sewing along, I can make sure, let me get that thread out of the way there. You can make sure that your line is perfectly at a 90-degree angle, so you know you're turning a square corner. Great for hemming, doing napkins, doing decorative stitches, a pocket, things like that. That's very, very handy. So this is a 60-degree angle, and this is perfect for when you're working with those star points and things like that in a quilt block, or any other angle that you want to do that matches up there. We also have the 45. This is great for sewing those bias strips together when you're quilting, or if you're doing half square triangles. You won't have to mark your fabric. It saves you tons of time. Another thing that I like to do with my line marker here is, if you are sewing those half square triangles together, or sewing triangles, if you have a piece of fabric that is a triangle, you just line it up and you can sew point to point without having to pre-mark your fabric. So that's a really cool use of that. Now you also have a grid that you can have displayed, and this is really handy if you want to do rows and rows of decorative stitches, or if you want to do channel quilting, which is just one straight row after another. And you can have it be smaller than a 1/4 inch or more than an inch away from each other. Just line up one of the grid lines right on your previous line of stitching, and then you can sew, and there's no need to mark and no need to take the extra time there. Another really cool thing that this machine does is it has a projector on it. So I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to come over here and let's choose a decorative stitch. So in the decorative stitches, there's tons to choose from. There's all these different categories here, and then in the categories you have a nice menu of different stitches. So I'm going to choose Just choose a cute stitch and then come take a look at how that projects. This is our projected stitch. So what this is doing is showing you a real size view of how that stitch will sew out. So you can audition your stitches before you even sew them out. And not only that, you can see if it's the right size, so there's no more guessing on size. If you want to change the size, you can come over here and change the width of the size and the length of the size just by using this little pen. And when you touch the button on the pen, you see that that little light came on, and that communicates with the machine. So I'm going to come and put it here. I want to make this narrower, and I just set that down. Look at that. It's changing the size of my stitch. And I can make it even scrunch up, make it shorter. You can adjust it right there, so it's going to sew out exactly how you want it to go. Now, if it's not the stitch you want, you can come over here and you can touch on the menu button, and it's going to display the whole menu where you are. And you can flip through the menu and see what the different stitches are going to look like. And when you get to one that you like, you can go, oh, actually I like the next one. That's beautiful. So if that's the one I want to use, I just say set, and then I'm ready to sew. And that is just such an awesome convenience. Okay, let's talk embroidery for a minute. This machine has some beautiful designs built in. It has wonderful lettering. It's also a Disney machine. Really cool. So there's lots of fun designs in here. In fact, you can see there's tons of them, and there's different categories. So there's Winnie the Pooh, there's classic Mickey, there's the princesses, there's Tinkerbell, and other cute little bits, and then there's also Mater and Buzz Lightyear, all sorts of fun stuff in here. But let's go grab our little Mickey here, and I'm going to say set. Now, let's think about putting an embroidery on a garment. Now, you want to make sure that the embroidery gets exactly where you want it to go, and you want it straight. So if you want a name on there straight, or you want your design on there straight, you got to make sure that you get it in the hoop just perfect. And that can cause stress and anxiety. So we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is take our shirt. So if this is your shirt, and we know we want to have our design placed exactly right here. The machine comes with these little stickers. They're called snowman stickers. That's what we call them. And you just line up his horizontal and his vertical lines with your placement line that you have on your garment or your project. Then you can hoop it, and it doesn't matter if it's hooped straight or not, because if you're working with button plackets and all sorts of things, sometimes you're just never going to get it hooped straight. In fact, I even ended up hooping this one upside down. So let's slip this on the machine and let the machine move that design. So that snowman sticker that's right here is a placement guide for the machine. And the machine's has a built-in camera, and it's going to look for that little sticker, and it's going to move and rotate the design to match up with how we have that sticker placed. So I have my little design there, and I'm going to go into embroidery, and I'm going to touch the button that looks like the snowman. And it says, it's just going to go back to the original. That's fine. It's going to search by my sticker. Yes. And take a look. It's going to turn on that camera. Oh, look, it already sees my sticker. There's my shirt, and it's going to take the design, rotate it, and move it so it actually will line up exactly with that sticker. And then when you stitch it out, you've got a perfectly placed little design. Absolutely fabulous. And it wasn't hard. It takes all the mystery out of it. So may as well make your life easy, right? Now, if that's not enough, let's say we're working with something, maybe another design, or working with a quilt block, and you want to make sure you link your designs together. Having embroidery on a shirt is great, but when you can plan and have embroidery designs work together so it's planned, that's fantastic. So it's actually really easy to do. So I'm going to put my little hoop back on here. This is obviously a different one, but I have my pumpkin in there, and let's say I want to do Mickey, and I want Mickey just sitting right at the top of my the tendril on the pumpkin there. All I need to do is go into embroidery, and I'm going to touch the little party hat. Now, this is the same projector that we saw a minute ago with working with the decorative stitches, but you're going to notice that I've got Mickey right here, and I can move him in the hoop, and then I can get him adjusted exactly where I want him to go. Isn't that cool? So then I'm going to turn on the background. So I don't know if you can see him there, but now you can see his outline. What I see here is different than what you may see on the camera, so I just want to make sure that you can see that. But this is a great way for you to see exactly where your design is going to stitch out, even if you're not working with the center of your design. So that projector is way cool. Now it gets even better, because if that were not enough, right? There is a feature in here called My Design Center. And what My Design Center does is it is going to let you create your own embroidery designs from scratch. So here I have a color book page with this cute little butterfly, and I'm just going to slip this on and ask the machine to take a look for that line image, and it's going to scan. So it's activating the camera and it's scanning this image, and it's going to be able to find and detect the lines and convert it so you can use it to stitch them out. So here he is all stitched out, and isn't he cute? So this is a satin stitch all around him, but you can use different types of stitches. You can fill him in with thread and make it a full color embroidery as well. So you have tons of options. Other things that are really fun to do is not only using artwork like that, but you can use your fabric. And if you take your fabric and have it display on the screen like this is, and that's what I did with this little pattern here. So now he's come up on the screen, and I cropped out the magnets by moving those little arrows. I'm going to touch OK, and look, it found that butterfly. Is that not cute? Now I'm going to touch set. Here he is. He's ready to go. If I want to change and fill in an area, I can come in here and pick a color, say OK, and then I can simply touch and fill in the area. So easy. You can create your own design just in a heartbeat. So cute. Other things that you can do with it, instead of scanning artwork, I scanned the fabric, and I used the pen feature, which you see right here, and I traced around my butterfly, created a custom quilted butterfly that I then used on the table runner, so my quilting actually matches the fabric. So that's really pretty fun to do. And then you can do stippling. You can do little stippling like I've done here. It's micro stippling, or you can do large stippling. And speaking of large stippling, take a look at this. This is awesome. This is a Dream Big panel. And if you take a look at all those beautiful quilted areas that are in here, isn't that gorgeous? So fabulous. So let me show you how we did that. I'm just going to choose a shape. Very easy. And there's my square. All I did was I went into the fill and I chose a decorative fill style for my quilting, and look at all these beautiful patterns you have to choose from. So if you want to do this beautiful flower, just say okay, and then all we have to do is touch where you want that to be, and then it becomes a quilt pattern. So there's a real life view of what that would look like. Now here's something else that's really cool with that. I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to choose a different style. I'm going to choose these circles, and these are really pretty cool. So the circles are perfectly round little circles. I don't know about you, but doing perfect round circles if I'm doing free motion is never ever going to happen. It just can't. So there they are, nice and perfect. But you can come in here, you can change the size. So maybe I want to make them smaller. You can do that, and then they'll become smaller. You can change the angle that they're on. You can change the offset, but this is my favorite button. This is random shift. and take a look at what happens when you do random shift. It makes it look like aggregate pebbles. It's awesome. So imagine how beautiful that would be to fill the background of your quilt. That's just really, really cool. Another thing that's really pretty neat, if you're going to be doing a quilt that has an embroidered pattern, so here's my my little Mickey again. I can come in here and have it stipple around Mickey. So it's going to add that stippling automatically. You can make it big stippling, you can make it little, whatever you want to do. But you can also echo quilt. Just with a touch of a button, you can echo quilt around your embroidery design. That is absolutely fabulous. So these are just some of the things that are amazing about this machine. So come into our store and take a look. I think you're going to love the Luminaire.